Well, I'm absolutely delighted now to be joined by the APS's Director of Public Affairs, Michael Lubell. Michael, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure.
So let's kick off. How important is it that the scientific community engages with Congress in the first place?
Absolutely critical. In fact, we began the initiative back in 1994-95, and we had seen budgets going down. And when we began the Advocacy, which involved the entire grassroots organization, APS members, we could actually see an inflection point. I did a piece with Alan Bromley, former president of the APS, former science advisor to George H.W. Bush, that appeared in Issues in Science and Technology. We demonstrated that. We took a look back. We did that in around 2004, and you could see the impact. So it's critical. It's also critical for scientists to understand that this is not a free lunch. You have to justify what you do. And a lot of people say, well, I do wonderful things. Why don't people appreciate it? You have to tell them why they should appreciate it.
And do you think, broadly speaking, people do appreciate it?
We have done polling, and what we know is that the public thinks science is a good thing. The problem is they have no idea why. It's a wonderful place to be if you want to sell somebody something. They're predisposed to listen. But right now what we also know is that the public says, well, if we're going to have to cut federal programs, there are a lot of other things we care about more because we see directly. Roads, water projects, these sorts of things people relate to. Science, they say, it's a wonderful thing. I'd like my kid to be a scientist. But what do they really do? We don't know. And how do we benefit? We really don't know.
So talk us through the Science Counts initiative.
Well, when we discovered this in the polling a few years ago, which we did in association with a number of other organizations, these warning signs were there. And so we convened a little summit of some wise people and did some brainstorming. And the conclusion that we reached in that summit was that we had to do something more than simply tell people science is wonderful. We had to tell people why it's wonderful, what they benefit from, whether it's in medical, MRI, CAT scans, or I like to take this out and say, do you know what's in here? Steve Jobs marketed this, he integrated it. All of the things in here came out of federally supported research. The public doesn't know that. And so we felt that scientists are not advertisers. We need to have an organization which now is a pan-science organization. Of course, not just the physical sciences, biomedical, social sciences, to actually advertise to the public how their tax dollars are benefiting them. And so that's what Science Counts is all about.
It's quite difficult, isn't it, at the moment, because, what is there, 2 physicists in Congress at the moment? It's not easy.
At the moment, there are only 2. There used to be 3, and at the end of this year, there may only be 1. There used to be 1 chemist. He's gone too. We have 1 mathematician who's there, but it's a serious problem. And it's a problem not only for the science community, it's a problem for Congress. Members don't really have the knowledge that they need to make decisions about things that affect the lives of the public.
It's been quite uncertain, hasn't it? We've had government shutdowns, we've had confrontations between the White House and Congress, but you think there's a glimmer of hope now that the budget agreement that was actually passed cut back on some of the bad news, didn't it?
It averted a disaster. Where we go going forward is very difficult to say. The political dynamics are still largely the same. Hyperpartisanship. The public itself is perhaps not as divided as Congress is, but I don't believe until we get to the end of this decade with redistricting that we're going to see anything substantively change. So these debates are going to continue. It's to the benefit of both political parties at the moment for this upcoming election to try to just get rid of the contention, do the minimal amount that they have to, go home, campaign for re-election, and come back next year, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's too early to tell.
Well, Michael, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Very good.
And hope you enjoy the conference.
I expect to. Thank you very much.